All right, good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to our first live session, and I trust God that you'll be blessed tremendously from this very broadcast. So, we have just two questions we want to answer today. The purpose of this very broadcast is to answer the questions that people are not very comfortable to answer. In fact, answer questions that you are not even very comfortable to ask, right? So, you send us the message or the questions. With your identity hidden, and then we come here and give you the answer as we deem fit under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. Right. So for this week, we would largely be talking about temptation. We have two questions on temptation, and I believe this is a very important discourse. It's a very very important um, matter that needs to be talked about. Right. Yeah, temptation is something that is common with everybody, right? But at this stage of life, as a teenager, it's as though hormones are most active at this point. They are so loud, because they're coming alive at this point in time. So it will take a while for you to master a lot of things, right? So temptation is a very important it's a very important subject matter at this stage of life. So we have two questions. The first question we have here is it possible to overcome temptations? That's the first question. Is it possible to overcome temptations? And I can really understand the weight of that question, right? With all the crazy things going on in the world, with everything we're experiencing, is it possible for someone to actually experience temptation? And one thing about temptation is not just sexual temptation we're talking about, but we're also talking about any kind of act that is against your faith, you being seduced into such acts. It could be exam malpractice, it could be stealing, it could be a lot of things, right? Or something you don't want to do that you are being enticed to do, right? It could so I'm trying to say that temptation borders a lot of areas, not just sexual temptation, other areas of life as well. Right? So is it possible to overcome temptations? Right? All your mates are engaging in exam malpractice, and is it possible for you to stand out? Is it possible for you to say, oh, okay, no, I'm not going to join them, even when you did not read? Is it possible for you to tell your friends, okay, this is what you guys want to do, I'm not going to do it, even though it's making sense and you guys are profiting from it, I'm not going to do it? Is it possible to get to that point where you can actually say no and stick to your no and actually um, not engage in those acts? Now, the answer is yes, it's possible to overcome temptations. And then the Bible made us understand that God will not bring a temptation that is beyond our power. And that is very true. It sounds like, okay, I know there are many temptations that have come my way and I was unable to overcome. So, if the Bible is saying that God cannot bring any temptation our way that is beyond us, those ones I fell for, why did I fall for it? If it's true, then I should have overcome those temptations. It should have overwhelmed me, right? You might ask that question. But the word of God is true. What we then do is to ask ourselves what we did when those temptations came our way. What was our response? It is determined if you overcome it or not. But it is a matter of capacity. When I'm saying that you can overcome any kind of temptation, it's saying that you have the capacity to. It's not saying automatically when the temptations come, you overcome them. No, it's saying you have the capacity to overcome temptations. Right. So the question is, what should you do to ignite your capacity of overcoming? I'm trying to tell you today that any temptation that you are faced with, you have the capability to overcome it. There's no temptation that is coming your way now that God approved that is beyond your capacity to overcome. Right? So the second question we have here is, how do I overcome temptation? So these two questions are like brothers and sisters. If you are saying we can overcome temptation, so how do we overcome temptation? How is it possible? What do we need to do? And I'll just list some few things, and I think we'll wrap it up for today. Um, the first thing I want you to understand that precautionary measures are more potent in dealing with temptation. It's more difficult to handle temptation when you are faced with temptation. It's more difficult to handle it that way. It's easier to prevent occurrences that leads to such thing. It's easier to manage the situation before you are besieged with it than in the situation itself, right? So you must pay attention to precautionary measures. You must really, in fact, the truth is, more than 50% of the temptations you are besieged with will not even come if you are guided, if you place around yourself precautionary measures. You know, these are possible temptations that will come your way. If you put precautionary measures around you, more than 50% of possible temptations that could happen to you wouldn't even come at all, because the opportunity for them to come has been blocked, right? Okay. So one of the precautionary measures that proves to be very potent, I'll just share with you three of them. The first precautionary measure that proves to be very potent is to focus your attention on God. Let your focus and your attention be on God. You see, in the current world we find ourselves, we have a lot of things fighting for our attention, fighting for our time. If you place yourself around things that do not glorify God, things that do not add value to you, you are setting yourself up for temptations. You are setting yourself up um, for things that will take you out of the control of God, right? So, for this, let me give you a very good example. Your attention, if your attention is drawn to the things of God, you wouldn't be around vagabonds, you wouldn't be around people without the same value with you, people that do not even have any interest in God. And if you're not in their midst, you don't have the problem of peer pressure. In fact, nobody will be telling you, come and join us to smoke. Nobody's going to say that to you because you are not in the midst of smokers. So if your attention is on God and the things that pertains to God, it would reflect even in your association, it will reflect in friends, it will reflect in the things you consume, it will reflect in your interests, right? If your interests are things that do not glorify God, you are setting yourself up for temptations, right? So as a Christian soldier, you must make it a point of duty to surround yourself with things that glorify God. Let your attention be on the things of God. Be involved in service in your church. Be very involved in activities that promote God, even in your secret group, personally. Read books, books that edifies you, books that helps you grow, that improves you. When you do these things, your mind wouldn't even cross around things like that. The things you are trying to run away from, your mind won't even cross them because your mind is filled with God contents. Right? So that's the first precautionary measure. Second precautionary measure is do not feed your lust. Right? This is very important, and I'll dwell on this a little bit. Do not feed your lust. This is one thing God taught me over time, that we all have the things our heart desires, right? Both good and bad things. As Christian teenagers, you are a Christian teenager does not mean that you wouldn't desire some bad things. You would have the taste for those things, right? You want to experience these things. You want to have, you want to know what these guys are enjoying. And it happens. Now, this precautionary measure demands that you avoid every feeding that very desire of yours. And if you do this, you wouldn't be in a situation where you are struggling to either perform that act or not. You don't be in the you don't be in the struggle of should I go to this place, should I join them to party or not, when you are not feeding your mind with those your desires, imagination. You're not imagining and you're God, one day I'm going to be in party. Or you're imagining how you look like on a dinner gown in a party. Your imagination begins to bring these things closer to your heart. And one day when you're giving an offer, it will be hard for you to refuse because You have already imagined yourself in the dinner gown. You already imagined yourself in the very hot um, attire, right? So do not feed your lust. And there are various ways you can actually um, achieve this. There are various ways you can achieve this. Watch the contents you consume, the content you consume online, the books you read. Watch the conversations you have. The Bible said that evil communication corrupts good manners. So you feed your lust when you're having some kind of stupid conversation. You feed your lust when you know this. Okay, let me exemplify conversations. Feeding your lust through conversations. Now, your imagination sometimes is ignited by the things you hear. So somebody is talking about the benefits of smoking. In fact, you don't even have any intent of smoking. It doesn't even cross your mind. And so somebody is talking about it. You be high, you don't be this friend again. You feel so good and stuff like that. That conversation opens your mind to imaginations. What does it mean to be high? How does it feel to be high? Okay, I've seen people. How do they even feel when they do that? So imagination is brought to life. But if you don't have those conversations, your imagination will not even be ignited. Talking about even sexual temptations, many times what stimulates people are conversations. So somebody is telling you things and you're going to imagine, okay, how does this thing even look like? What does it even feel like? And then your imagination is ignited. So if anybody's having a conversation with you in that line, end it immediately. Don't allow that conversation to elapse. Don't allow that conversation to have full, to carry out its full scope. End it immediately because it might lead to creation of pictures in your head. And those pictures, there's something about the heart of man. When a picture is created in your head, it takes the grace of God for that picture to die. That picture will remain there waiting for the day you manifest it. So many times we put ourselves in the situation we find ourselves, but we don't know. So you just want to have normal conversations. Sometimes people be like, why are you avoiding this kind of conversation? It's like you're still a kid. There's something there. I'm just wanting to know. And you're like, actually, it's not so bad. It's not that I'm even doing anything. And then from one conversation to another, before you know, your heart is panting for something. So don't feed your lust. Don't have that conversation. Don't talk about those things. Put a boundary on this. I can't have a conversation about this thing with anybody. I don't want to have those conversations. And then when you block that, you block temptations. It's a precautionary measure, like I said. So don't feed your lust. Also look out for the things you watch, right? The videos you watch online and things like that. Videos have a way of igniting our imagination, right? Videos have a way of painting pictures for us. So if you watch a video that is derogatory, a video that can stimulate someone's, it's very easy for your imaginations to begin to play out, right? So avoid. One of the things I try to do as a person is, even though I'm not a teenager, I'm an adult, and I still have those battles, I still fight those battles. One of the things that I try to do every time is to pay attention to the things I watch, the things I see with my eyes. So on my feed, my Facebook feed, my YouTube feed, and social media feeds, I ensure that the things popping up are things that surround my feed, things that surround God, so that I don't stumble on things that will make me inquisitive, make me want to know more, and then when I click it, my mind goes wild. So you must pay attention to those things, the pictures you are looking at, the videos you are looking at, even the stories you are reading. That's another way of igniting or feeding your lust. You read some of those erotic stories, and then you're imagining Romeo. Wow, this scene sounds so. Stories bring you into reality. It's like they bring you into a place you're you are envisioning what they're telling you, right? And you're like, how does this, your imagination is also ignited. So you must deal with that. Put a boundary on the things you watch. These are things that are so common that you require a lot of discipline to be able to keep, right? So um, let me just talk a little about discipline in regards to feeding your lust. Please have it at the back of your mind that you're not every kind of person. You're not like the people of the world. You're not like everybody. You're a different person. You're a special person. You are unique. You should have your own special rules. You should have your own special, unique principles. If other persons don't have unique principles, it's their problem. It's their business. But you as a person that have where you are headed, have principles, have rules, and let some of these rules branch out to the things we are saying. I don't want to see, I'm not interested. Hold it. Facebook should, in fact, there's sometimes that Facebook pops out some rubbish that is not your interest. What I do, I don't just cancel it. I tell them never to show me this thing again. Don't pop up something like this for me again. It's a rule I place for myself, right? It's a rule I place for myself, and it's not going to change for anybody. That's what I want. That's how I want my life to play out. So you place rules around the things you consume. Place rules about how you relate to people. That's conversation, right? Place these rules. Let it guide you, and you see that your life will be headed in a different direction. The struggles that other people will have, you will not have it because you don't open yourself to those struggles, right? So finally, one of the ways to overcome temptations is to rely on God's help. You know, the things I talked about initially is a precautionary measure. So if you find yourself in a temptation and it feels like there's no way out, or I'm already falling for it, rely on God's help. I've found that even in the midst of or in the height of temptations, there is always that still voice that is telling you not to. There's always that still voice, that small strength inside that is always making an attempt to pull you out. So if you rely on that, the problem is that we don't lay hold on that small strength that comes, right? We just focus on the temptation in our form. If you cultivate this habit of paying attention to that little voice, it begins to magnify. If you pay attention to that little strength inside that is telling you don't. If you pay attention to it, it begins to magnify, and the temptation will begin to dip into. So over time, that strength inside of your spirit will overshadow the voice of your soul. So um, rely on the strength of God. Rely on God to help you. So these are the things I think can help you overcome your temptation. To help you overcome temptations that comes your way. And just a bonus, please watch people around you. I keep saying this every time. The friends around you determines how much your life will play out. The people around you determines a lot about you. So the struggles you have, most times, while I was in secondary school many years ago, I know one of the struggles I later had in life that became a very, in fact, that struggle made me cry many times. It started one very day when I saw my friends. I had very useless friends that time. People that they go to church, but another hot or cold, everything goes for them. I had a lot of them. I was quite in my early teens many years ago. And I was naive, I didn't know a lot. So I one day I met them and I was inquisitive and I learned what they were doing. When I was trusting God for help, I was always regretting meeting those people. I always regretted being in their midst. I was always telling myself, oh, how I wish I was not there that day. How I wish, in fact, I didn't know those people that time. This struggle I had, I will never have even known that such thing existed. But we thank God for victory and we thank God for the help of God. But it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't close to them. So I'm trying to say that some of the things that you fight, some of the struggles you have, is because of the friends you have. The wrong turns you take sometimes will be because of the people around you. So you must take the driver's seat concerning your association. You must take the driver's seat concerning your friends. So if you can do that, you save yourself from a lot of problems. Right? So these are the few things I feel will help you in regards to temptations. Don't feel that some temptations are beyond you. No, they are not beyond you. Put precaution and master precaution over time. And then master the help of God even in the temptations. And the Lord will help you. But I want you to know precaution holds a lot of power. Don't try to find out how you come out by entering. No, don't try to find out. Sometimes you don't know the blessings you have not having some experiences. Some people are like, I met a young lady one time that she was like, that her life is so boring. Her life is, she feels trapped. Like she's not doing what her mates are doing. I was just listening to her mention some of the things that me, as of that time, I was praying to God to save me from. And I was telling that, I said, but still very young that time. I said, you don't know how blessed you are. Like you feel your life is boring, but your life is a blessing. That's the people that are praying to come out of what you want to enter. So you might feel your life might feel boring when you begin to stay away from these things. It feels like you're not having fun, but you are enjoying the blessings of God. You are enjoying life. Some people get married and their marriage fails because of some of the things they picked at their teenage age. And it was fun for them that time, and it becomes a problem for them later in life. There are some people that die early, some people that end up as drug addicts. It started as a bit to have fun, and then it ruined their life. Some died 29, some 35. Had it been they didn't engage in those things, they could have lived up to 80 years, so like 40 years removed for somebody's life. That's a lot of waste. So it might look very boring when you don't want to be involved in these things. But I tell the truth, it's a lot of blessings for you. Right? So make a decision to be different today. Make a decision to stand out in the crowd. Make a decision to be transformed such that you are not like everybody, you are different. You are, in fact, some of those persons can come to you for advice, they can come to you for counsel, they can come and associate with you so that they don't involve in those things. Um, one of one of the Christian teenagers on this platform, um, I've been working with her personally, and God has so helped her that some persons are coming for her to, to be around her so that they can learn from her. And I so thank God for her life right now. And I wish that for all of you as well. That at a point in time, people are coming to you to become like you. People are coming to you to learn how you overcame your struggles and how you are able to live right. Right? And I trust God that He will do that for you. So I hope to see you next week at the same time. And do well to send us questions as we will do our best under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit to answer them. I hope that this session blessed you. Thank you, and God bless you.